Hi, my name is Katie Weatherup and I'm a shamanic practitioner in San Diego, California. And I want to talk about what I see in shamanic reality. In my admittedly biased opinion, I have the coolest job in the world. I get to do things like soul retrieval and shamanic healing. And what I'd like to share today is sort of what it looks like when I go in to do that work, what I'm actually seeing when I'm doing that work. And I'm using seeing because it's the best word in the English language that conveys what the experience is of the information I'm taking in. But as anyone who has spent considerable times in the shamanic realm, one of the things you quickly notice is how putting it into human language, what is experienced in this altered state in this other world, definitely has its challenges. So it's more something that I perceive. It's not necessarily visual images, although I could put things into visual images. It's not something I hear, although often there are words associated with it. Often there's feeling and a sense of things. But I wanted to talk about what that map looks like, because I think it's cool and fun to geek out on this stuff, and I think it'll help people have a better idea of what exactly it is that I have to offer, at least a piece of it. So when I go into shamanic reality, oftentimes what I'm doing is what's called a soul retrieval for someone. So the idea with this piece of work, and there's lots more information on my website, is that pieces of their energy that have become separated, my job is to go track them down, find them, and bring them back. And I do a lot of other stuff combined with that because I can, and it's very supportive. And as I'm going through and I'm doing this work, I'm changing the lens of how I look at things to filter the information, which, shows me different things. So if you've ever had something that had a bunch of overlays of layers, you can see this layer. If you gray out that layer, anybody who's played with graphic design is probably familiar with how different things exist on different layers. I use my intention to focus my vision. So I turn it to what power animals are coming in for this person, what's going on with their energy field, just getting a general sense. And then I work with everything that's connected. And one of the things that is very, very cool about shamanic work is it's never the same. Like, I'm endlessly amazed and awed of how the multiple lifetimes that people have lived, the soul contracts that they make, the connections to their family, how all of this blends together in such amazing, unique ways. Everyone's journey is so different, and so I'm endlessly surprised, like, oh wow, that's fascinating. I can see how all these pieces come together. And so if I'm working with something that a lot of people wrestle with, like, wow, somebody's really struggling with money, I get excited because, not that they're struggling with money, of course, but I get excited because I have a lot of wisdom to share and a lot of tricks and things to pull out of my hat that I can use to work with that. And at the same time, if somebody comes up with something that I've never seen before, which happens regularly, there's, even after 14 years, I still see new things all the time. There's this excitement of I get to get my engineering hat on and problem solve something. So when I'm looking at someone's soul, I see a lot of different layers. So I can look at them and I can see the essence layer of their soul as inhabiting the sort of general area and region of their auric field in their physical body. And I can also see how their life force energy moves. I can turn my vision to show me where soul parts have ended up with other people or pieces have gone other places. I see where their past lives might connect in, so I see this stream. I can look at that, how they're connected in with their ancestors and their family of origin, where there's energy that's gotten stuck or knotted up from painful events that still have a lot of charge, that are still active in their energy field. If there are rips and tears in their auric field that need repair, if someone has a codependent relationship with someone and they're overgiving energy. So there's this huge map of all these different perspectives that show me how a soul is moving through the world on sort of the highest level of what was their soul purpose and what are their soul contracts, to the very mundane level of, what kind of energy exchange do they have with their partner or their children, or their job for that matter. And so it's really cool, and I love getting to use this in soul retrieval. One of my favorite applications is when someone offers me an issue. So they say, I have these headaches, or I have this this health problem, or I have this pattern that keeps showing up where I fall in love with somebody and then everything goes haywire the minute I commit my heart. All these different things. And what's cool is I really try to go in with a neutral mind about what that could be, and then I see what shows up. And so I get to sort of soften my gaze and look over all these different layers for how are they connected to the collective consciousness? Is it ancestral? Is it past life? Is there a blockage in their energy field? Does it relate to childhood? And find the origin, like track down what is in the way of this issue being gloriously resolved in a happy way, and then move and readjust the energy once I find it. And for big issues that we work on for a long time, a lot of times there are a lot of layers, so I can go through and say, okay, well, here's the piece that's family, and here's the piece that's this story that you have that you always have to do everything perfect. Let's take that apart. And you swore this oath to this person 3 lifetimes ago, so it makes you really hard to have boundaries with them. All of those kind of things. So I have this incredible vision and this incredible scope where I can see where the individual soul is woven into the world around them and the people around them, how they interface with their daily life in middle world, how their soul interfaces with the shamanic realms and upper world, what guides come in to support them. It's really cool. There's a lot of information that comes together. And so part of why I'm sharing this is I get the deepest use out of being able to understand these really complicated soul maps of what goes on with people if I have the opportunity to work more deeply with them. So I can do a tremendous amount in a soul retrieval session, and a lot of people report that that is very life-changing, and I love the work. I'm very, very passionate about that. And it's really cool when I get to work with someone multiple times, because I continue to expand my map. I continue to find not so much the huge overview of how their life works, but the subtle nuances of how they have navigated. Sometimes it's a complicated interface between the uniqueness of the individual soul and the world that we have around us, the general society. There can be a very we can come up with really creative ways to navigate that. And so I'm going to pause here. So the phone has now been turned off, and as I was saying, getting to work with people multiple times allows me not only to see the obvious map, but the subtle nuances, and find ways to make some really deep and lasting changes. What's cool about the shamanic work is if you heal any piece, everything ripples into a new configuration. My experience is our soul naturally wants to move toward health and wholeness and love and alignment and right relationship and all these cool things. And sometimes our human self or our society, with the best intentions in the world, is really convinced that there's something that we need to hold on to that will truly get us health and happiness. And so that's why it's so hard sometimes to break out of codependent relationships or addictions or habits or ways of engaging with the world. But the shamanic work seems to offer really deep, very pervasive healing. And so I'm making this video as part of launching a Shamanic Healing Intensive program that gives people the opportunity to work with me either once a month, twice a month, or weekly for a period of 3 months to really get some deep healing happening. And at the same time, I love being able to have people that I'm supporting their journey more dynamically in the background. So when I work with people more frequently, I become extra connected and caring about how their journey is going and what's happening for them. And with this program, with my client's permission, I'm going to be sending energy in the background and holding the vision. What's nice about the skill set I have is when I'm visioning the destiny path of, let's have it go this way, I can put a lot of energy and a lot of juice behind it if I have the opportunity to work with it on an ongoing basis rather than as a one-time thing. So if you're dealing with a major illness, the loss of a loved one, you have some gnarly issues you're ready to work through, the end of a relationship, or you're just feeling like, wow, I'm really ready to go to the next level in a focused way, the program offers an extremely affordable and very effective way to really get in and do some deep work. And my conversation with Mara, who you heard dialing in, actually today at lunch was about how conventional talk therapy can only take you so far, and sometimes it just seems like being on the hamster wheel where someone knows that they need healing but are just going round and round. And I'm a fan of all different kinds of healing, so I'm not knocking talk therapy, but what I love about what I do, and the reason that I became a shamanic practitioner instead of a therapist, is that when you start creating these deep energetic interventions and you start being able to see a lot more of what's in play in the picture than just what's on the surface level with the behavior or the engagement with the world, you can make lasting changes in a much more accelerated fashion. So I hope you'll take a look at the program that I have available, and thank you so much for your time and listening, and I hope that this supported you. Again, my name is Katie Weatherup, and you can learn more about me and my work at handsoverheart.com. Thanks so much.